This is a video tutorial on finding the y-intercept from a table or 2 points. We're going to start with a table first, and you can see with this table right here, the problem is that I don't see the y-intercept there. The y-intercept happens when x is 0 and there is no x equals 0 in this table. So I need to find another way to get the y-intercept. So what I'm going to go ahead and do first is calculate my slope. And as we learned before, to get your slope, you take your differences in your y's and divide it by your differences in your x's. So my differences in y, well, every time I look here, I'm dropping 4. And now if I look at my x's, every time up here, I'm adding 2. So I'm going to do y divided by x, negative 4 divided by 2, ends up being negative 2. So I have a slope of negative 2. Y-intercept, that's what I don't know. I have to figure out what that is. So now I need to plug my slope into the equation. I know that's going to be negative 2, but I need to find my y-intercept, the b. So I need to pick 2 values in my table, an x and a y value, and plug it in for the x and the y here. Usually you want to pick some numbers that are easy to work with. You want to try to avoid negatives, pick maybe some smaller numbers. I'm going to go ahead and pick 7 and 20. 20 is my y, so I put 20 in for y. 7 is my x, so I put 7 in for x. Now I'm going to go ahead and find my y-intercept. So I've got 20 equals. Negative 2 times 7 is negative 14 plus b. I'm going to draw my line. I need to get b all by itself, so I need to get rid of that negative 14. And I'm going to do that by adding 14 to both sides. 20 plus 14 ends up being 34 is my b, because this cancels. So my y-intercept is 34. Now that I have my slope and my y-intercept, I can go ahead and write my equation. Y equals negative 2x plus 34. And there's my linear equation where I had to find my y-intercept and my slope. Okay, now I'm going to move on to when I just have 2 points. So let's say I have the 2 points of sheet here. I'm going to use the 2 points of 9, 1 and 2, 15. Now first I need to find my slope, and to do that I'm going to have to use my slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Just like we did before, we're going to want to go ahead and label these points. So since this is my first coordinate point, I have x1, y1. Second coordinate point, x2, y2. So to get my slope, I'm going to go ahead and plug them into that formula. y2 is 15, so 15 minus my y1, which is 1, over my x2 is 2, minus my x1, which is 9. 15 minus 1, 14. 2 minus 9, negative 7, and 14 divided by negative 7, negative 2. So my slope is negative 2. But again, I don't know what my y-intercept is. That's what I have to try to figure out so that I can write my equation. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I have y equals negative 2, that's my slope, x, plus my y-intercept. I don't know what my y-intercept is. So I'm going to pick one of these points to plug in for x and y. I'll go ahead and pick 9 and 1, just because we got a 1 there and that's nice. 9 is my x value. I'm going to put 9 in for x. 1 is my y value. I'm going to put 1 in for y. So 1 equals negative 2 times 9 plus b. I'm going to draw my line and solve this. 1 equals negative 2 times 9, negative 18 plus b. I need to get b by itself. Since this is a negative 18, I need to do the opposite of that. I'm going to add 18 to both sides. This cancels. b equals 1 plus 18 is 19. So my y-intercept is 19. Now when I write my equation, I have y equals negative 2, there's my slope, x, plus my y-intercept, which is 19. There's my linear equation. Now let's do another one like that. This time I'm going to use the 2 points. Excuse me, this is going to be 8, 5, and negative 8, 1. So again, I'm going to need to use my formula for slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Label these points, x1, y1, x2, y2. So to get my slope, I'm going to plug them in. y2 is 1, y1 is 5, so 1 minus 5 over my x2 is negative 8 minus my x1, which is 8. 1 minus 5 ends up being negative 4. Negative 8 minus 8 is negative 16. Now negative 4 divided by negative 16, I can reduce that fraction, and since it's a negative divided by a negative, it becomes a positive 1/4. So my slope is 1/4. Don't know my y-intercept. Need to figure that out. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is put that 1/4 into my y equals mx plus b formula. So y equals, let me make sure I got enough room here. I got a couple lines right here. Y equals, my slope is 1/4, so 1/4 x plus, I need to figure out what that b is. So I need to pick one of these points to put in for x and y. Now, I don't want to pick this one because I have a negative. I don't like that. So I'm going to pick 8 and 5. 5 goes where my y is at. 8 goes where my x is. Now I just go ahead and solve this. Okay, so I've got 5 equals 1/4 times 8 ends up being 2 plus b. I need to get that b by itself. Since 2 is positive, I'm going to minus 2 from both sides. This is gone. b equals 5 minus 2 is 3. So my y-intercept in this case is 3. I've got my slope, I've got my y-intercept, so I can plug it into my equation. Y equals 1/4 x plus 3. And there's my linear equation from these 2 points. Thank you for watching this tutorial on finding the y-intercept from a table or 2 points. Feel free to rewind it and watch the parts that you need to see again. Thank you.